Are you tired of hearing rumors and opinions about the best handheld gaming devices of the year? Do you want to know the facts and the features that make them stand out? Well, you've come to the right place. Welcome back to my channel, where I talk about all things gaming and tech. Today, I have a very exciting video for you. I'm going to compare two of the most popular handheld gaming device, the Steam Deck and the Nintendo Switch OLED. But wait, there's more! At the end of the video, I will also show you how these two devices stack up against Asus' latest offerings, the ROG Ally Z and Z1 Extreme. Which one is better? Which one should you buy? Which one will make you the envy of your friends? Well, you're about to find out. Display. Let's start with the size. Both the Nintendo Switch OLED and the Steam Deck have a 7-inch touchscreen, which is larger than the original Switch's 6.2-inch screen and the Switch Lite's 5.5-inch screen. However, the Steam Deck is slightly wider and taller than the Switch OLED, due to its different aspect ratio and thicker bezels. The Steam Deck measures 11.7 x 4.6 x 1.9 inches, while the Switch OLED measures 9.5 x 4 x 0.6 inches. This means that the Steam Deck is less portable and more bulky than the Switch OLED, and it may not fit in some pockets or bags. Here is a side-by-side comparison of how they look in my hands. As you can see, the Steam Deck is much heavier and harder to hold than the Switch OLED, which feels more comfortable and ergonomic. I also noticed that the Steam Deck gets quite warm after playing for a while, which can be annoying if you have sweaty palms like me. The resolution is another important factor to consider when comparing displays. The Steam Deck has a higher resolution than the Switch OLED, with 1280x 800 pixels versus 1280x 720 pixels. This means that the Steam Deck has a slightly sharper and clearer image than the Switch OLED, especially when playing games that support higher resolutions. However, the difference is not very noticeable on a 7-inch screen, and both devices have a pixel density of around 210 pixels per inch, which is decent but not outstanding. Here is a side-by-side comparison of how some colors look on each device. I chose some bright and dark colors that are commonly used in games, such as red, green, blue, yellow, black, and white. As you can see from these images, the colors on the Switch OLED are much more vivid and rich than on the Steam Deck. The blacks are also much darker and deeper on the Switch OLED than on the Steam Deck. The performance of the display depends on several factors, such as brightness, refresh rate, response time, and adaptive sync. The Steam Deck has a brighter display than the Switch OLED, with 400 nits versus 300 nits. This means that the Steam Deck is more visible in bright environments, such as outdoors or under direct sunlight. The Switch OLED has a dimmer display than the Steam Deck, which may affect its visibility in some situations. The refresh rate is the number of times per second that the display updates its image. The higher the refresh rate, the smoother and more fluid the motion on the screen. Both the Steam Deck and the Switch OLED have a refresh rate of 60 Hz, which is standard for most handheld devices. The response time is the time it takes for a pixel to change from one color to another. The lower the response time, the less ghosting and blurring on fast-moving objects on the screen. The Steam Deck has a response time of 8 milliseconds, while the Switch OLED has a response time of 16 milliseconds. This means that the Steam Deck has a slightly faster response time than the Switch OLED, which may improve its gaming experience. The adaptive sync is a feature that synchronizes the refresh rate of the display with the frame rate of the game. This reduces screen tearing and stuttering, which are visual artifacts that occur when there is a mismatch between them. The Steam Deck supports adaptive sync through FreeSync technology, which works with AMD graphics cards. The Switch OLED does not support adaptive sync at all. If we have to choose one winner for this section based on objective facts alone, we would give it to the Nintendo Switch OLED for having an OLED panel that offers more vibrant colors and contrast than the Steam Deck's LCD panel. Speakers. When it comes to speaker quality, there's no contest. The Steam Deck blows the Switch OLED out of the water. The Switch OLED may have improved its speakers, but they still can't match the loudness, bass, and clarity of the Steam Deck. The sound on the Steam Deck is so rich and full that it makes you feel like you're part of the game. The music and sound effects are so realistic and immersive that I often prefer to use the speakers instead of headphones. The secret behind the Steam Deck's amazing sound is its custom closed-type speaker solution. This prevents the sound waves from clashing with each other, resulting in a cleaner and clearer sound. The Steam Deck also has a built-in DSP that boosts the sound quality and creates a wider soundstage, making you feel surrounded by sound. The Switch OLED, on the other hand, uses open-type speakers that rely on a backlight to illuminate pixels, resulting in duller colors, lower contrast, and narrower viewing angles. Battery. One of the most important factors to consider when choosing a handheld gaming device is the battery life. You don't want to run out of power in the middle of a game, especially if you're away from a power outlet. That's why I think the Switch OLED has a clear advantage over the Steam Deck in this regard. The Switch OLED has a battery capacity of 4,310 mAh, which is the same as the standard Switch model. However, thanks to its OLED screen, which consumes less power than the LCD screen used by the Steam Deck, it can last longer on a single charge. According to Nintendo, the Switch OLED can last between 4.5 to 9 hours, depending on the game you play one. That's pretty impressive for a handheld device, and more than enough for most gaming sessions. The Steam Deck, on the other hand, has a battery capacity of 5,313 mAh, which is slightly higher than the Switch OLED. However, because it uses an LCD screen, which requires a backlight to illuminate the pixels, it consumes more power than the OLED screen. According to Valve, the Steam Deck can last between 2 to 8 hours, depending on the game and settings too. So when it comes to battery, Nintendo Switch is the obvious winner. Processors. The processor is the brain of the device, and it determines how fast and smooth your games run. The Steam Deck has a much more powerful processor than the Nintendo Switch OLED. The Steam Deck uses an AMD APU with 4 cores and 8 threads based on the Zen 2 architecture. The Nintendo Switch OLED uses a custom NVIDIA Tegra X1 chip with 4 ARM Cortex-A 57 cores and 4 ARM Cortex-A 53 cores. The Steam Deck's processor can run at up to 3.5 GHz, while the Nintendo Switch OLED's processor can run at up to 1.02 GHz in handheld mode and 1.75 GHz in docked mode. This means that the Steam Deck can handle more demanding games and applications than the Nintendo Switch OLED. The winner of this round is clearly the Steam Deck, as it has a much faster and more capable processor than the Nintendo Switch OLED. Graphics. The Steam Deck also has a superior graphics card than the Nintendo Switch OLED. The Steam Deck's APU includes an AMD RDNA 2 GPU with 8 compute units and 512 stream processors. The Nintendo Switch OLED's Tegra X1 chip includes a NVIDIA Maxwell GPU with 4 SMS and 256 CUDA cores. The Steam Deck's GPU can run at up to 1.6 GHz, while the Nintendo Switch OLED's GPU can run at up to 307.2 MHz in handheld mode and 768 MHz in docked mode. This means that the Steam Deck can deliver better graphics quality and performance than the Nintendo Switch OLED. The winner of this round is also the Steam Deck, as it has a much more advanced and powerful graphics card than the Nintendo Switch OLED. Storage. The Steam Deck has more memory than the Nintendo Switch OLED. The Steam Deck has 16 GB of LPDDR5 RAM, while the Nintendo Switch OLED has 4 GB of LPDDR4 RAM. The Steam Deck's memory has a bandwidth of 88 GB per S, while the Nintendo Switch OLED's memory has a bandwidth of 25.6 GB per S. This means that the Steam Deck can handle more complex and multitasking operations than the Nintendo Switch OLED. The winner of this round is once again the Steam Deck. Conclusions. The Steam Deck and the Nintendo Switch OLED are both handheld gaming devices that have their own pros and cons. However, if we have to choose one winner based on objective facts alone, we would give it to the Steam Deck for the following reasons. The Steam Deck has a more powerful processor and graphics card than the Nintendo Switch OLED, which means it can run more games and deliver better performance. The Steam Deck has more storage options and memory than the Nintendo Switch OLED, which means it can store more games and data and handle more complex operations. The Steam Deck has more versatility and compatibility than the Nintendo Switch OLED, which means it can play games from various platforms and sources such as Steam, Epic Games Store, Origin, etc. Comparison with ROG Ally, Z1 and Z1 Extreme. Steam Deck and Nintendo Switch OLED are really good in their own ways, but did you know there's a handheld gaming console out there that is literally out of league for both of them? We are talking about ROG Ally, Z1 and Z1 Extreme. The ROG Ally Z1 and Z1 Extreme are powered by AMD's new Ryzen Z 1 series processors and RDNA 3 graphics. These are based on the latest Zen 4 Phoenix mobile processors, which are made with a 4nm process and offer high performance and efficiency. The Z1 has 6 cores and 12 threads, while the Z1 Extreme has 8 cores and 16 threads. They both have 16 GB of LPDDR5 RAM and 512 GB of PCIe 4.0 SSD storage, which can be replaced if you want more space. The ROG Ally Z1 and Z1 Extreme also have a 7-inch FHD IPS touchscreen with 120Hz refresh rate and 500 nits brightness. This means they have a higher resolution, faster response, and brighter display than the Steam Deck and the Nintendo Switch OLED, which both have a 7-inch screen with 1280x 800 resolution and 60Hz refresh rate. The ROG Ally devices also support FreeSync Premium, which reduces screen tearing and stuttering in games. One of the coolest features of the ROG Ally Z1 and Z1 Extreme is that they can be attached to the XG Mobile external graphics card, which is an optional accessory that adds a GeForce RTX 4090 laptop GPU to your handheld device. This means you can play the most demanding games at ultra settings when you are at home and enjoy a smooth performance boost thanks to the PCIe 4.0 connection. However, the ROG Ally Z1 and Z1 Extreme are not perfect. They have some drawbacks that you should consider before buying them. For example, they have a short battery life of about 2 hours when gaming, which is less than the Steam Deck and Nintendo Switch OLED. They also have some software issues such as bugs, crashes, and compatibility problems with some games. They are also not very ergonomic, as they have small buttons, stiff triggers, and sharp edges that can hurt your hands after prolonged use. So ultimately, it comes down to you which handheld gaming console attracts you the most.